Welcome to Less Lethal Defense. I'm Seth, and today I'm going to be testing the SABRE Aim and Fire Trigger and Grip Deployment System. In 1975, Larry Nance took a $228 investment and founded SABRE Security Equipment Incorporated. Now that's pronounced SABRE, not SABRE. If you know, you know. Now, Larry Nance was a family man, and this company was a family company. And when I say family, I mean his wife and small children. The first product that he developed and started to manufacture was a CS gas defensive spray. In 1985, he started to develop and distribute a OC defensive spray. Well, he actually became the largest manufacturer of pepper spray in the world. Now, SABRE isn't just a one-trick pony. They don't just manufacture and distribute pepper spray. They also do a combination pepper spray CS. They do stun guns. They have personal body alarms, home security systems, pepper launchers, personal body alarms, bear spray, dog spray. Pretty much anything you need for personal protection, SABRE's got you covered. Now, SABRE also donates a lot of their money to some really great causes, which I'm going to list below. SABRE is also used by some of the biggest law enforcement agencies in the world, like New York City Police Department, Arizona Public Safety, Federal Bureau of Prisons, just to name a few. Now, you've probably heard of SABRE and you've probably seen SABRE because it's sold everywhere. Amazon, Walmart, Target, so many different distributors carry SABRE. They have some amazing products, and I really look forward to reviewing them all. Let's take a closer look at the SABRE Aim and Fire Trigger and Grip Deployment System. Yes, that is the actual name of this product. I'm just going to call it the Aim and Fire. So you can tell the Aim and Fire looks like a gun, because essentially it is a gun. Now, before I continue this, I'm going to render it safe. I'm going to pull back the barrel lock. I'm going to open up the barrel. I'm going to inspect it. There's nothing inside the barrel. I'll show you there's nothing inside the barrel. I'm going to go ahead and close this up, and we're going to continue with this video. So, it's called the Trigger and Grip Deployment System. That's because it has a grip safety. Here's the trigger. So I'm going to try to pull the trigger. Nothing happens, but if I push the grip safety and then pull the trigger, it will function. This is very similar to a lot of different guns out there. They also have the grip system. So if you're familiar with using guns, this is actually going to be very familiar to you as well. You're going to notice this little hole on the side here. This is actually a viewport. It allows you to see whether or not the Aim and Fire is loaded. Now, right now, you can see straight through it and there's nothing there. Now, if I were to insert a cartridge, there'll be a different view. So this is the practice, oh, good catch. Practice only cartridge. This is water. It is an aerosol, but it's just the propellant and water. So it's meant for practicing. In fact, this target also comes with it so you can practice. You aim in the eyes here. That's why the arrow goes back and forth. So put the cartridge in, and then I just close it up, and we're off to the races. Now I'm going to give you a closer look here, and you can see that there's a white now in the viewport, and on this side you can see some of the lettering. It's blue. Blue usually indicates that you're using an inert or practice water, essentially. Now, don't assume that, though. The idea behind the viewport is that, let's say you were to leave this alone, put it in a drawer somewhere, and then you realize, hey, I need to get my Aim and Fire out. You could look to see whether or not it's loaded. Now, it's also super easy to just open it up and look, and obviously clearly it says practice only. So you obviously know it's not the live cartridge. Now, the live cartridge isn't just a pepper spray, it's a maximum strength pepper gel, which is pretty nasty because pepper spray is usually a liquid. Well, with pepper gel, it's just like hair gel. It's probably not as thick as hair gel, but imagine spraying someone with a gel. Trying to wipe that off, it's going to be a lot harder. It also doesn't have a lot of movement in the wind, and it's a lot easier to clean up, and there's less likely to get any blowback. So if the wind is blowing, it's less likely to fire back on you. Now let's get back to the aim and fire. It's pretty simple to operate. It's got a very ergonomical design. On the grip here is it's textured, and it has little finger grooves. So you can go ahead and get a hold of it. I can index my finger really well, which indexing just means you're not putting your finger on the trigger. It's a common firearms term. So as I'm holding on to it, I can get 2 fingers really well here. There's a little spot I can get my third finger. Why did I say fourth? Third finger. And then if I'm firing it like I'm firing a weapon, have 2 hands on it, very easy. It's got a very smooth design, not a lot of edges. So if you were to carry this in your pocket, it's not going to catch on anything. And with that grip safety, the trigger's not going to accidentally deploy. Now, the way it does operate is once you do activate the safety and pull the trigger, it pushes this little knob. See if I can get a better view of that. Little knob forward right here. And that is what's going to push the canister into the nozzle, which then causes the canister to fire. It's a pretty simple design, actually. Doesn't look like there's a lot of metal to it, which is nice. It weighs almost nothing. I mean, 0.4 grams. Now with the canister end, it's gonna weigh a little bit more, but it's, like I said, it's pretty simple. I mean, it doesn't take much pressure to pull the trigger at all. And it does have a sight on top here. There is that very small plastic line here, but you're only going to be firing to the max of 14 feet. And when you're using the practice cartridge on the target, you'll be able to aim down and kind of get an idea. But a lot of this is going to be kind of Kentucky windage, or you fire first, and then if you need to adjust, you just, you go higher and lower. But with a gel, you're not going to have a lot of movement with the wind and so forth. So it's going to be pretty easy to operate. I do really like this design. One thing I did find really interesting is on the side here, let's see if I can get it in close here. It actually says Walther, and that is a firearms company. So I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, that the aim and fire was actually either designed by Walther or was partnered with Walther. Now, this aim and fire is actually made in Taiwan. However, the gel is made in America. So although it is foreign made, it's still pretty solid. I mean, it's like even opening the barrel and shaking it right here, it's not going anywhere. I mean, this thing is, it's hard plastic. I'm not overly worried about it breaking. And what's really great is with it being reloadable, if you do use it, you can reload if you need to. Or if you want to buy more practice cartridges, you also can do that. Now, with one of the cartridges, you are allowed, not allowed, but you're given 13 bursts. Now, how long is a burst? That's a phenomenal question, and I have no idea. Because, I mean, with the trigger pull, is that a burst? Is that a burst? Like, what is designed as a burst? I mean, so you get a lot of bursts, but it really just depends on how long you pull the trigger down. So we'll see. We'll see how much we can get out of this thing. But overall, I'm really digging this. I mean, just using it right here, anyone who has like any possible medical problems with their hands, I don't think they're going to have any problems using this. I mean, I think even a small child would be able to use this if needed be. Not that this is recommended for children, but the trigger is so light that I don't see anyone having, like even with arthritis, having any difficulty pulling this. Now, the aim and fire doesn't come with a holster, so you can use it in your pocket. You could put it in a purse. However, I actually was able to find a holster that would fit it. This one was just lying around my house. This is a Blackhawk size S, nope, 5, not an S. And it actually fits in pretty well. This is an in-the-belt holster, so we'll be using this for the live demonstration, but you could definitely use a holster, but SABRE doesn't provide one, and you can't buy one. I hope they will eventually develop a holster. But as of right now, you can find some generic firearms holsters that will fit into this. So that's a pretty good look at the aim and fire. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and test this thing. For the aim and fire, I'm going to be using Adam as my operator again. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know Adam quite well. We're going to be using the practice only water cartridge, and we're going to be firing it at 15 feet. Now, I'm not using the target on this one. What I've actually done is set up my GoPro. So he's going to be firing at a GoPro, which is substantially smaller than a human face, but I wanted to get a really good view of how the aim and fire actually hits, so you'll have a better idea of what it looks like when you're getting sprayed with one. So let's take a look at that and see how it works. So you can see from the two different angles, the practice spray didn't actually hit the GoPro, but it got really close. Now, you have to remember that the GoPro is smaller than the face, so around the fence and the tripod did actually get hit with the liquid. And this is water, not the gel, so it's going to act a little bit different. What I'm going to have Adam do is take a few steps forward, and we're going to try this from 10 feet. Let's take a look and see what happens now. Well, I would say that was a successful test. You could see that the aim and fire hit the lens of the GoPro. Now, I wanted to test out the distance again, so I'm going to have Adam back up to the 15 feet mark. And what I'm going to have him do is I'm going to have him aim a little bit higher. Because the GoPro is so small, I'm going to have him adjust. So imagine this is the GoPro. I'm going to have him aim just right about here, and we're going to see what happens. Let's take a look. Well, that wasn't the result that I wanted, but we did learn a lot. So one thing you may have probably missed was that when Adam fired, the water actually shifted just a little bit in the air, and that was because of the wind. Now, that's to be expected. Now, the gel is going to be heavier. It's not probably going to adjust as much, but we did get to see that there is going to be some movement. So don't be surprised if you're testing it with the water and it does move, because it's not the gel. It did not hit the GoPro, but it did hit around the GoPro. Still don't know if it's really going to function perfectly at 15 feet, but it's getting pretty close. And once again, the GoPro is smaller, but it was hitting in the area. Now, I wanted to test it again, but we ran out of water. The water canister, we ran out, so we couldn't test it again. But we did learn a lot. We did try to get the bursts down. So you get 13 1 second bursts. And that's pretty hard to do, honestly. Adam was doing 1/1000. Maybe that was too long, but I mean, one. I guess that would be the way to do it. But I believe in the heat of the moment, you're probably not going to be counting your shots. You're probably just going to pull the trigger. So it's not like you're getting a burst per trigger pull, you're supposed to let off the trigger when you are testing it. Not testing it, but using it. So you would be like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second between firing it at somebody. Realistically, in a panic, in a defensive situation, you're probably just going to pull the trigger and it's just going to fire. It's going to fire just continuously. It's going to be one solid stream. So that's when you're going to be able to just saturate the face. Once again, still trying to hit, just the eyes, the forward and back. But if you were to hit the nose, the mouth, anywhere else, it's going to work. But the ideal place is in the eyes. So we learned a lot from the practical test. Let's see what happens next. It's time for the live demonstration. And I'm not looking forward to this because the Aim and Fire uses SABRE's maximum strength pepper gel. And it's going to probably hurt. But honestly, would you want to see the business end of this? Yeah, didn't think so. So for the scenario, we're going to be using the in the belt holster. So Adam's going to have this concealed on his person. Now it is, like I said, in the belt. So this little clip here goes on the outside, and the Aim and Fire will actually go inside the belt line. So it'll be concealable. You're not going to know where it's at. Now you're going to need to use your imaginations today. Adam is going to be putting away his garbage can. He's going to be using both hands. And when he puts it down, he'll actually be facing a wall. Now the wall's not really there because of angles. But imagine it's a dead end. So Adam's going to turn, and I'm going to show up and try to rob him with my rubber knife. And he's going to have to deploy the Aim and Fire and incapacitate me to get past me because it's a dead end. We're going to test whether or not the Aim and Fire is going to work. We're going to be doing it at 15 feet. And he's going to fire until he's able to incapacitate me or he runs out. Let's see what happens first. Now, obviously, if I get to him and I'm able to, slice him with the fake knife, we're going to know that the Aim and Fire is not effective. So let's go ahead and take a look. And once again, remember, use your imagination on this one. Hey, you, give me your keys, give me your stuff. Give me. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple different angles, and I'm also going to slow down the video so you get a chance to see the Aim and Fire really work. Hey, you, give me your keys, give me your stuff. Give me. Hey, you, give me your keys, give me your stuff. Give me. Before I get into the breakdown of the live demonstration, I'd like you to see something. This photo was taken 30 minutes after being exposed to SABRE's maximum strength pepper gel. You can see that my eyes are still swollen. I can barely open them. My eyesight at the time was still pretty blurry. My whole face was burning. My lungs hurt. I was still coughing because I had gotten some in my mouth. Overall, I was in bad shape. Now, keep in mind that I can contaminate myself immediately. And I'm prepared to do this. An attacker is not going to have anything set up. So they're going to be in a lot worse shape than me. So I just wanted you to see that. Now, getting into the live demonstration. I was about 15 feet away when Adam engaged me with Aim and Fire. His first shot he did hit me in the face. And you can see my head move back and forth because the pain was pretty immediate, but it didn't disorientate me to the point where it stopped me from attacking him. Now, Adam did step forward and he did continue to fire. He was not doing the controlled bursts. He was just pulling the trigger and the stream was just firing. Now, he hit me in the face. You can see that I tried to bring my hand up to protect, but also to kind of, I wanted to wipe my face, but I knew I couldn't because it would just make the situation worse. He continued to fire, and then I finally hit the wall. Well, I hit the wall because I was disorientated, and I was in so much pain, I didn't know where I was or what was going on. In fact, you could hear me verbally groaning because I was in a lot of pain. So I hit that wall and I crumpled because I was just out of the fight, completely done. Adam actually had to physically grab my shirt and take me to the decontamination area because I was not very helpful in the situation. Now, the beginning to end of that live demonstration was only 9 seconds. And Adam deployed the aim and fire for 6 of the 9 seconds. So in theory, that would have been 6 bursts, but it was one continuous stream, roughly. But that was over in 6 seconds. Once he deployed the aim and fire, I was out of the game. I did mess up on something. There were some technical difficulties. The GoPro on Adam's wrist was set to snap photos instead of record. That was my mistake. I hope to remedy that and it'll never happen again. But we did get some really cool pictures, and you can see when the aim and fire hit me, and you'll see my hand coming up. I didn't touch my face, but it looks like I did. But what I thought was really neat is on one of them, you can actually see the stream, and it looks like it's maybe being moved by wind, but it actually was following the gun. So when Adam was firing at me, I was moving, so he brought the aim and fire down and the gel followed. So it kind of gave you that cool effect. So keep in mind that that wasn't wind that was causing it to move. It was Adam's physical movements that was causing the spray. So wherever he pointed the aim and fire, the gel followed. And that was the intent of it. I'm impressed. I really am impressed. Overall, it was great. There's one more test I would like to conduct, and that's to see how much is left in the cartridge. We did use it for 6 seconds, pretty much consistent. So I want to see how much is left in the can. So I'm just going to have Adam fire it and just see how much is left. We're not going to do a distance test or anything like that. We're just going to just see how much. So let's take a look at that and we'll find out. There definitely wasn't very much left in that cartridge. I would say probably about a second's worth. So overall, we got about 7 to 8 seconds worth of gel from that cartridge. I'm not sure exactly how they're supposed to get the 13 out of that, but they say 13 bursts. Maybe that's with the mechanical device and that's how they're able to get that number, but I definitely wasn't able to get 13. However, it still was successful, so I'm not overly worried about that. Now, something I did forget to mention is the pepper gel does have a UV dye in it. Now, with my rush to decontaminate, because I was in so much pain, I didn't really test my face or clothing to see the effects of the dye. Now, I do have some photos I'm going to show you, and you can see that it does work, but keep in mind, I'm decontaminating quickly. So normal attackers are not going to, so they're still going to have that dye on their clothing and their face. So, you know, don't worry about that. But go ahead and take a look at these photos, and you can see that there is, the dye is there. Now that I have conducted all of my tests and collected all the data, I'm prepared to give my final rating and review of the SABRE Aim and Fire. I'd like to go over the pros and cons. But before I do that, there is one thing I'd like to address. And honestly, it's not really a pro or a con, it's just one of the concerns I have. I'm not a big fan of less lethal products that are in the shape of a real firearm. Some people are not allowed to have firearms, and some places you're not allowed to carry firearms. Now, if you were to have this concealed in a holster or a purse or even in your pocket, you could do what's called as printing, which allows people to see the outline of it. Now, without seeing this, and you just saw the grip and the barrel, or even the trigger, you would think that this possibly could be a real gun. And that could cause your day to be very complicated with law enforcement or security. Also, if you were to pull out the Aim and Fire, someone may think, he's got a gun. Now, if you're using this for self-defense, that's probably not going to be the case because they're not going to see any bullets, but it's something I'd like to address. So just be aware that there can be problems with something that looks like a gun. I'm not saying it's a pro or a con, it's just something that, something that bothers me. All right, so let's go on over to some pros. Pro, I love the design. I love the grip, the safety, the trigger, pretty much everything that went into developing the Aim and Fire. The safety is in a great place. As long as you have a good grip, you're going to be able to depress it. The trigger is lightweight. No one with any sort of medical conditions, whether it be arthritis or anything that may make their hands not be able to grip it, they're not going to have any problem pulling the trigger. It's reloadable. So if you were to want to practice more, you can get more of the water cartridges, or if you wanted to have more live cartridges, that's available, which is awesome. One thing that I didn't test for, but it was very apparent, is that the Aim and Fire would work on multiple attackers. You'd be able to fire and move to different attackers, which is great. That option is always ideal because you don't know how many attackers there are going to be. It could be 1 or 5. So the Aim and Fire would definitely work there. I do enjoy the textured grip. It does give you a little bit something else to hold on to. The SABRE Maximum Strength Pepper Gel, wow. In conjunction with this deployment system, chef's kiss. That gel being fired out of here, the accuracy, the ability to just annihilate your attackers, another major pro for me. Honestly, there's not a lot of things that I don't like about this. Now, I did want to not like the viewport, but honestly, if it saves one person from an accidental deployment or from taking a empty Aim and Fire out to defend themselves, it's worth it. Not to mention little cuts do take a little bit more plastic off the Aim and Fire, and it reduces the weight. Now, there are some cons. My first con is going to have to be the fact that there is no holster available. Now, I would love for SABRE to develop a holster and either sell it with the Aim and Fire or have it as an optional add-on purchase. But, trying to find a holster may be a little time-consuming and cost-prohibitive. I was lucky enough to have one lying around, but someone else may have to go to different stores. They may have to try them, and I think they could just avoid that by developing a holster. Another issue is the 13 bursts. Honestly, I'm not sure exactly how that's possible. Maybe when they have a robot controlling this thing, you're able to do the 13 bursts, but from what I saw and what we did during testing, I just don't think that's possible. Although I don't think people, like I said before, are going to be doing a 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they're just going to pull it and they're going to spray, just like what Adam did. So I didn't like that advertisement. They said if there's a way to do 13, I just don't know how to do it. The other issue is the distance. They claim 15 feet. Now, through all the testing, we were able to get 15 feet, kind of, but it didn't really hit like it should. It wasn't as accurate. Now, you're not going to have something to measure out your distance when you're trying to defend yourself. You're going to end up having to, just pull the trigger and see what happens. And if they're too far away, you'll have to adjust. Or if they're too close, you'll have to adjust. But I just don't think that this thing is going to be able to function properly at 15 feet. I think probably 12 feet is more realistic. Anything less than that is going to be perfect. So my final rating of the Aim and Fire, 0 is trash and 10 is I'll buy this for everyone. I'm going to have to give the Aim and Fire an 8. It's something that I definitely would recommend for pretty much everyone. The only other people I may recommend this is not the best choice is someone who wants something a little bit smaller, like someone who's jogging or just wants something for their key ring. But if you're a security guard, police officer, these would really be a great less lethal option. Something to keep in your car, in your bedside, because the Aim and Fire will work in indoors or outdoors. And actually using gel indoors is actually more optimal because you're not going to have that spray everywhere. So it's going to be a lot easier to clean up. So overall, this is just a really great product. And I have to say kudos to SABRE for their time and energy putting the Aim and Fire together and then combining it with the maximum strength pepper gel. Good job. If you have decided that the SABRE Aim and Fire grip and trigger deployment system, that's right, I use a full name, is the right self-defense tool for you, then you can find it at my link below. That'll take you right to SABRE, where you can purchase the Aim and Fire along with additional cartridges if you'd like. Now the Aim and Fire does retail for about $43. Sometimes you can find them on sale, but that's not a bad price for what you get. You will get one water cartridge and one live cartridge, and you also get the target along with detailed instructions on how to use the Aim and Fire. Remember, before ordering, to check with your local and state laws because the Aim and Fire is not legal everywhere. If you buy the Aim and Fire, please keep it in a safe location and out of the reach of children or anyone who is not authorized to use it. Last thing we want is accidental deployments. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and make sure notifications are turned on. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you have any questions, comments, or there's a product you'd like to see me review, send me an email. And until I post the next review, stay safe.